So our guest today is going to talk to us about a few very timely things about viruses, bacteria, and something that's also coming up this time of year is hay fever and allergies. And if you're out there and you know that you get it every year, this is the time when you might want to start, kind of protecting your body from that. So our guest is Peter Josling. Now, he's actually calling us from England today. He's the director of Sussex-based Garlic Centre. He is a trained chemist. My tongue-tied. I'll start over again. He is a trained chemist graduating from Nottingham University in England. He has over 18 years' experience in the international health food market, devoting his time to conducting and publishing clinical studies and scientific articles on a wide variety of natural products, including garlic, but also ginger, ginkgo biloba, phosphatidylserine, hypericum, which is very beneficial for mood things, got to tell you that. And the main thing that we're going to talk about today, which is allicin. He is an expert in garlic research, and he's known as the garlic guru. I'd love to see what he's wearing today, some big robe with garlic around his neck, I'm sure. Right, Peter? Anyway, Peter...
That's me, that has, Kim. Thank you.
Okay.
No, I don't have a garlic robe on today, I'm afraid.
Oh,
sorry.
shoot. I had this whole visual of the garlic guru, with, like, flowers in your hair and garlic around your neck. But anyway, Peter's
here... Next time I'll be prepared, okay?
He's going to talk to us today about the discoveries in stabilized allicin, which is a constituent part of garlic. Peter was the first to conduct a study using stabilized allicin to prevent the common cold. That's very exciting. And has also conducted a study on using garlic to help fight allergies. And what we're talking about today, hay fever, folks. So we would like to welcome you all the way from England, Peter.
Thank you very much indeed. I didn't realise that you allowed English people to listen in as well. So that's good, isn't it?
I know.
The audience reach goes all over the world now, which is brilliant.
I know, and that's the thing. I sent that off to Kate to make sure that if you had any friends and family that wanted to hear you, get famous on the radio, they could just turn the computer on and hear you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, my wife is always saying, I can never hear you when you're on the radio, Peter. And now I've got no excuse, have I?
That's right. So maybe we're going to take a break at, 7:30 for us. Maybe you can hurry up and tell her to get it on the computer so she can hear the rest of the show. So listen, Peter, what a bunch of exciting things have happened with Allimax, the brand that we're talking about today. But let's get on and talk about the new study that you have on hay fever and the whole seasonal rhinitis, which is, the inflammation in the sinuses.
Well, it's one of those times of years, isn't it, when people just suffer terribly.
Mm-hmm.
It must be all... I don't suffer myself, but it must be dreadful suffering from the dreaded hay fever, where you can't go outside, you can't enjoy the smell of fresh-cut grass, you can't go out into the streets and just enjoy yourself because you're at home sneezing and coughing, and you've got the runny nose and the runny eyes. It must be an awful condition to be saddled with, really.
Especially,
and I think one of the nice things about the Allimax is that it seems to work very effectively for chronic hay fever sufferers. So these are people that have really been suffering for many, many years, and we recruited them, a group of them, a couple of years ago now, and we showed that just taking 2 capsules of the Allimax every day, you could actually prevent these chronic sufferers from getting any problem whatsoever. And some of the comments we had at the end of the season were, I feel as though my life has been given back to me. I can go and play golf, I can go and sit on the grass, I can go out to the parks and enjoy, the spring flowers and all that sort of thing. So I think, what we've got here is something that's clearly able to prevent chronic hay fever sufferers from suffering, and I think that must be a good thing, don't you?
Oh, well, especially, yes. That's what I was going to say. Like, spring is such a wonderful time of year, and once you've been cooped up all winter, I can't imagine then thinking that you're not going to be able to get out in the spring.
No, that's right. And the awkward thing is that, there are so many choices for these people out there at the moment. There are all the antihistamines, of course, which, some are good, some are not so good. But overall, all they do is drug you up, basically, and cause you to feel tired and run down and miserable. That's the last thing you want to feel during the springtime, as you say, when you've been stuck indoors all winter time. So I think, there are lots of natural treatments that can be used, and certainly Allimax falls into that class. as being able to prevent the onset of the hay fever problems. And how does it do that? Well, we think probably what it does is it actually boosts an underactive immune system, and at the same time dampens down an overactive immune system. And garlic seems to be unique in this respect as to how it actually helps hay fever sufferers. But certainly the group that we recruited, they had a really, really good hay fever season, and at the end of it, something like 85% basically were controlled on just the 2 capsules of Allimax per day. And I think the reason for that is that the allicin, as you mentioned, is the key component in fresh garlic. And unfortunately, it's a component that is lacking in most of the other garlic supplements that you find out there. So that's why there's really no other data for us to look at to suggest that garlic in general is good for you. And it does seem that the Allimax has something over most other garlic supplements in this case.
And I think you're right, and that, quite often we'll be talking to people and we'll say, well, you should take Allimax garlic, and they'll say, oh, I eat a lot of garlic. So maybe we should take a step back and just tell our listeners what is so different about Allimax and just what makes it do what it does.
Sure. I mean, you can go away and chew yourself on fresh garlic, but A, you're going to lose all your friends.
Yeah, really
B,
quickly.
it's going to upset your tummy fairly quickly because garlic is quite aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do eat a lot of fresh garlic, even if you put a lot into your food, actually, it can upset your tummy quite easily. And the reason for that is that as you crush and cook with fresh garlic, you start releasing allicin, but that allicin is unstable, and it changes into lots and lots and lots of different sulfur chemicals. And those sulfur chemicals are quite aggressive on the stomach. So really chewing or eating fresh garlic isn't really an option, particularly for things like hay fever. So therefore, you've got to look at the supplements. And there are lots of garlic supplements in the market today, literally dozens and dozens.
Mm-hmm.
And the vast majority of them have been around for a long time, and they rely on your body making the allicin for you. Now, the real difference with Allimax is that it's pre-converted allicin, and the allicin has been stabilized. It's physically in the product, and that means it gets into your tummy very quickly, gets absorbed very quickly, and that means that you get this benefit, and you can actually measure the benefit in terms of what it can do for a hay fever attack, for example.
Hmm. And a key thing there is without the stomach upset, because I know actually just the other day, because we've had a little cold bug going around our store, I took 6 capsules all at once, and I didn't repeat the garlic, I didn't smell like garlic, and I think that's the comfort range for most people when you start talking about garlic, is that you can take it without smelling like garlic.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right there, because one of the companies I worked for some years ago, it was a very big supplement company, one of the most popular garlic products in the world. But our data suggested that we were capturing data from the impact questionnaires that people filled out, to get 3 products.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, 1 in 4 on this particular brand actually stopped taking it within a 4-week period, simply because either their wives or their husbands or their partners or even their children said, hey mum, hey dad, you actually smell of garlic.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a major concern to people, and I think that's the sort of thing that really never happens with a brand like Allimax. I mean, this brand has been around for some years now, and I honestly can tell you that you can count on less than the fingers of one hand the number of people that have stopped taking the brand because they perceive it to be smelly. So it really isn't a major problem. And the reason for that most people don't fully understand is that when you crush a clove of garlic, you release that smell and that flavor, the classic garlic smell. It's actually not just the allicin that's responsible for that. It's the allicin plus some of the other sulfur compounds that allicin breaks down into. So therefore, if you're taking Allimax on a regular basis, the allicin is getting into your gut and being absorbed before it breaks down, and therefore the incidence of smell is very, very, very low. In fact, I would say it's inconsequential, and it doesn't even register as a side effect with taking the brand Allimax.